The World Cup is on the horizon. Only a couple of weeks, at least as of me casting this, until we have a new world champion of StarCraft 2. And there are two names that pop up more so than anyone else. I think a lot of people's favorites are, of course, Maru and then Serral. Now, the both of them, generally speaking, don't show any games before a big tournament takes place. Usually they try to hide their strategies, and well, this time around in Serral's case, he is currently doing his mandatory military service, so he doesn't really seem to have a lot of time to play the game in general. But both of them probably do most of their practice right now in custom games whenever they do have the time to play the game. That being said, there is currently an ongoing team league for StarCraft 2, organized by SC Boy, the WTO guys, and both Serral and Maru decided to participate. So in this first best of 2 series, I want to have a look at one of the favorites for the World Cup, and he goes by the name of Maru. In this particular series, his opponent is none other than Lemon, a Taiwanese Protoss player. And then in the next series, we will have a little update as well as to where Serral is currently at. Now, in case Lemon does not ring a bell, he is a player who's relatively new to the game. At the very least, I've seen a bunch of his games over the years. I think he started playing right around like COVID times, or probably was playing before that, but he started getting competitive right around that time, and he's actually really impressed me. Certainly one of the better Protoss players from the Asian region, and even though I don't think I've really featured him very much, if at all, he is somebody to keep an eye out on. Now, the problem for him is that he's going up against the #1 player from Korea. So, yeah, that's a little unfortunate. That's gonna make the game a little difficult, but maybe he can show us some nice games. So let's see. Maru very much so somebody who doesn't really have any real weaknesses. So it's not like you're gonna be able to cheese him and try to get lucky. He's also very quick to capitalize on any mistakes that you make. So it's not really, maybe he sometimes has a bit of a tendency to turtle, I guess, but he's just playing it safe. Generally speaking, he doesn't really lose to anything silly. And that's what makes it so difficult, right? To take down the top players. They just don't have a real weakness. They're good at every aspect of the game. You can't say that Maru is bad at micro, or that he's bad at macro, or that his strategies are weak, or that he has like a certain map where he doesn't play on. Like, he doesn't really have any weaknesses. Over the years, all of that has been polished out, and yeah, at that point, it can kind of feel like you're playing against a brick wall. Now, one thing to note, by the way, these series, they are both best of 2s. So the WTO uses a best of 2 format because it's a team league. So basically, it's a bunch of games being played, one after the other. And then it's all about map score, depending on how well your team does. So yeah, a best of 2 can sometimes be a little bit anticlimactic because it can end in a 1-1. But anyways, journey before destination, right? Strength before weakness. What's the last ideal? I don't remember. It's been a little bit since I've read the Stormlight Archive. Anyways, it's gonna be a blink opener right here for Lemon. Whereas on the other side of the map, Maru is going for a good old Maru opener. Terrans can kind of just make a seemingly random set of units in the early game. And they can throw it to the other side of the map. See how it goes. In this case, there will be a Widow Mine as well, and that is the big skill check. 2 Widow Mines together in a little medevac. They're going to be here to wreak havoc. And this is going to be a big skill check. The problem, of course, for Protoss is that when you open up Blink Stalker, and there's a medevac hiding over here, or somewhere over here, right? It can just sort of chill in that corner. And then when you're busy microing on the other side of the map, that medevac can swoop in. And if you're not paying attention, or you didn't leave Stalkers behind, it is very easy to accidentally lose the game. So usually this is a nice way for Terrans to secure that the game goes a little bit longer, because Protoss is going to have to dedicate units to it. Or sometimes you can deal a lot of damage and just straight up win the game. Let's see. I mean, this is also something that Protoss players... Oh, see, that's exactly what you want to try and avoid. This is also something Protoss players play against all the time. I can imagine that this is also quite a nerve-wracking series here for Lemon. Because when you're going up against one of the greats... don't lose another Stalker. Oh god. That's actually already a fine start. Maru saves the medevac. I mean, we don't have to fly like that, Maru, but... Maru's like, no, straight line back home. Go home, my little ship. Fly as fast as you can. The entire bottom section of the map is essentially inaccessible right now, but Anyways, he is gonna go home and maybe get some repairs. But 2 Stalkers for 2 Widow Mines. Not a terrible start, of course, for Maru, who's now gonna pile on the pressure with a Banshee. Cloaking Field is going to finish up for the Terran in just a moment, and that's gonna allow that Banshee to deal some damage on the other side of the map. It does take 2 shots for a Banshee to kill any of the probes. Sadly, right now for Lemon, though, there is no shield battery here, but he does have an observer close by, and obviously Blink is already done. In the meantime, there's also a bit of a skirmish happening in the middle of the map. Looks like Lemon is being pushed back in that direction too. Okay, if Maru can secure the kill on the 3rd, that would be essentially game over. That is what he's aiming for right now. There's a lot of Stalkers though. I wonder if he's being a little overly aggressive. One of the siege tanks does end up going down. Cloak Banshee shows up at the front as well. He backs up to the safety of the battery. Another siege tank tries to siege up. Good control right here by the Taiwanese Protoss. Okay. Maru is not gonna get this skill check done. Ooh, I like the individual micro. It's kind of fun. Now we're running through everything. He believes he can get the kill, and he wants to maybe get some of the reinforcing units too. Scan reveals it, but it's an expensive kill for just a single observer. Good micro right there, though, by Lemon. Yeah. The first few minutes of the game didn't really look all too promising, I guess. I mean, he didn't lose anything critical. But now that he's got his third base up and going, he cleaned up that first big attack from the Terran. Life is actually really quite manageable. Plus, this is a opener right here for Maru, where he doesn't yet have a third command center. So Maru is very focused on trying to see if he can win this game with these early game attacks. If he would have been able to get the snipe on the 3rd, I think the follow-up attack from a 2-base Terran would be pretty much impossible for Lemon to hold. But now that the 3rd base lives, I'm actually liking this position for Lemon quite a bit. He's got 60 workers versus 46 SCVs. Colossus is coming up right now. Charge is about a third of the way done. I think Maru's next attack, or his next real attack, can't really happen until at least Stimpack is done. He's occupying some space over at the Watchtower, but that next attack is becoming very critical. Now he's building a command center on the low ground over here. That's nice. But how much work can he really do? I don't think he can do much. Fourth Nexus coming up right here for Lemon. I like that. I don't think Maru can push in right now, and I don't think Maru can really be killed at this point. So it makes perfect sense for Lemon to try and expand behind this and just continue attacking up. There's still a few ways, though, in which this can go horribly wrong. But so far, so good right here for our Protoss. Okay. So, there's Stimpack finishing, and then we also have the combat shields. Concussive shells not far behind either. Looks like Maru wants to go for a slow push. Does get the kill right there on the Observer. That's nice. He brought a Viper. Or a Viper? A Raven. Basically the same unit. We should give Parasitic Bomb to Ravens. Abduction? No. We have a Raven in the mix, obviously, that also functions as a detector. Maru right now trying to see if we can get a chokehold on this 4th. Siege tanks are sieged up quite far away. He wants to move those a little bit further forward. Extended Thermal Lance is about 90% of the way done. And that is a critical upgrade right here for Lemon. I don't think he can properly engage until that's done, but he disagrees. He goes in right now. A lot of the damage for those Zealots, though. Oh, it has been mitigated. A lot of the splash from those Widow Mines also connected with the Bio Army. And it looks like Lemon secures another hold. Careful, though, with the Colossus, man. Ooh. Okay. Huh. This is not even Maru playing poorly or whatever. It's just Lemon playing really good. Him keeping these bases alive is so important. Okay. Maru is desperately reinforcing this, but not quite getting it done. Nope. And another base lives. At this point, we're talking 76 workers for Protoss versus 51 SCVs. So the income advantage that was already in favor of the Protoss player is now going to get even more in his advantage. Now, we do have 3 mules that just dropped. Yeah, that's going to create a bit of a peak there, but not bad whatsoever. Lemon's got vision on the left side of the map too. He's not going to be caught off guard by this little bio group, and he takes the gold. Okay. Ghost Academy coming up for Maru. That's going to be his next weapon of choice. He's only got a single engineering bay though. Same for Lemon, he only has a single forge. Oh, careful. No, Maru. Really? Okay, he was thinking about it. That's a desperation play. Loading up your Medivacs, crossing your fingers, closing your eyes, and hoping that the Protoss isn't there. It's one of the strategies I'm really good at. But I don't recommend it. Now, this fight over here is also not recommended, though, for Protoss. Loses a bunch of Zealots. Got a bunch of Marines and Marauders, too. Aggressive blink forward. Lemon splits up his army. Split it up perfectly. Yeah, in case the name Lemon didn't ring a bell, I think this is a pretty good example of somebody who is relatively new to the game. I mean, he's been playing competitively for like 5 years now, but it shows that there is still room for new players to come in and actually look really good. Sometimes it kind of feels like StarCraft 2 is a bit stagnant in that department. But we have quite a few programmers now that are born after the year 2000. Which is pretty sick. I don't really know exactly when Lemon was born, by the way, but a lot of programmers these days are... Yeah, basically, I remember very distinctly that StarCraft 2 came out, right? So Wings of Liberty just turned 14 years. He turned 14 years old. Like the game turned 14 years old, which is ridiculous. I remember very specifically that the game released. But now there's programmers out there that don't remember anything about Wings of Liberty. They started playing in Legacy of the Void. Which makes me feel a little bit old too. I very distinctly remember an interaction I had with a unnamed pro gamer, or somebody I won't be naming, at Home Story Cup, and we were talking about the Mothership Core. And this is a player who's extremely good at the game. And they said, what's a Mothership Core? They'd never heard of it before. They like, they don't know. Anyways. Maru forced to now play the macro game. His army is still good, and obviously he's a phenomenal macro player. But Lemon's position here is certainly very good. Little ambitious right there with that Purification Nova, fair enough. He's moving forward right now. Maru's gonna have to micro. Luckily for him, he's real good at that. How many Vikings? Only 7 at this point. Against triple Colossus, that's not quite enough. A new Nexus is building at the bottom of the map. Maru just secured a 4th command center as well. He's actually late on his upgrades. The fact that he's only at 13 minutes making an armory actually means he's very late with his upgrades. And that's gonna bite him in the butt when Lemon is gonna finish up his double forge upgrades in just a moment. Like, his upgrades were also not early. Ooh, nice dodge right there at the last possible second for our Terran. Almost a disaster. Good bit of damage being done though with all of these Protoss units. And this position is once again being broken. He's got vision on the right side of the map. He's taken the expansion in the bottom right as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he makes another base on the left. Okay. Great control for both. But it's just that we assume, I guess, that Maru has got great control. Lemon not crumbling under pressure. Goes in. Thinks about moving up to the high ground. With those Novas connecting though, he decides to back off. Obviously EMP also dangerous here. Okay, good positioning right now by Maru. He finds himself with 2 kills on the Colossi. The third one is not going to be far behind. The age of the Colossus is over. But that means they make room right now for the Disruptors. +3/+2 coming up for the Protoss player. +2/+2 about halfway done right now for Maru, who's actually quite far behind in that department. Income here for Protoss is still superior. And this dance is a very long one. He decides to commit. He does target fire down the Disruptor in time. If you kill the Disruptor while Purification Nova is channeling, the ability is cancelled. Still though, Lemon's army's just big, man. He's got a lot of income, I guess, and it's just allowed him to be in a pretty good spot. I like this shield battery positioning over there too with the battery overcharge. Maru is gonna get pushed back once more. EMP does connect with a lot of these units. Apparently he's feeling confident. Lemon decides to steal the gold base here for Maru. Or from Maru. And he's actually on the attack. Another Nova connects with a couple of units. Aggressive blink forward to snipe one of those liberators. Only one of them remains. Okay. 21 gateways in total. Yeah. We're playing full gateway man here. Dark Shrine on the back of this. New command center building as well. We're just finished in the top left. Planetary Fortress will be added into the mix. Maru, though, in a pretty dire position here. Not a spot we see him in all too often, especially in this matchup. He's been dodging those Novas left, right, and center, but if one of them connects, this game is over. Lemon, fishing forward. Doesn't really want to take any real chances. I mean, he's getting good upgrades. He's at 2-2 right now. Same can be said for Terran. But +3 is going to finish up for these attacks very quickly. Another Colossus is coming up again. Couple of Disruptors, though. A little too far behind. Maru tries to save those hit units as well. Medevacs are running dangerously low on energy, by the way, at this stage in the game. He's making more Medevacs now, but we already have 10. Big EMPs. But the Terran army is looking mighty small right now. More Widow Mines set up. Lemon is carving his path up towards the high ground once again. Hold positions over here as he tries to work away at some of these structures. Decides to back off. Big EMP. Colossus has joined in. Immediately took some damage from something. Must have been a Widow Mine or whatever else it was. Maru once more maxed out. Purification Novas rolling up towards the high ground once again. Widow Mines being sniped with the Novas here. Okay, that Liberator making it difficult for Lemon to make a move forward. Keep in mind that we do have a Dark Shrine right now. Lemon expands once more to another base that ordinarily would be considered to be the Terrans. Another shield battery. Similar position as the one that we saw earlier at the other gold base. Okay, here we go. Maru decides to pull the trigger right now. This is do or die. He's trying to come in from as many different angles as possible, but Lemon's army is looking absolutely massive. Purification Nova is making it difficult for Maru to really micro against it. Lemon's playing really well. I kind of went into this thinking it was going to be a slam dunk for Maru, but it's not. Maru is being pushed back. Like, he's actually starting to fizzle out a little bit. This position's being broken. Oh, Purification Novas are nice. Liberation Zone gets sniped. Suddenly, the zoning here is not really present. 2 more Liberators on the production tab. A couple Novas once more. Clip a few of those units. It's important here for Lemon to not overextend. He's doing this without any run-bys, by the way, which is crazy to me. Normally, we would see at least a group of Dark Templar trying to create a distraction with, like, the Planetary on the far left. Battery overcharge being used over at the Golden Minerals. Lemon is just fighting straight up, straight in the front. Ooh, okay. Good push right there, though, by Maru. That looked like it was over. And you know what? He's actually not controlling. Oh my god, he does snipe one of those Disruptors once again. But finally, we have a big connection. Reinforcing Protoss units show up. 21 gateways turns out to be quite nice if you want to quickly spend your money and reinforce this. Good splits right there as well from the Protoss against those mines. Is there enough? Is there enough for Lemon to win the game right here, right now? More units do appear. Medevacs are practically empty. Maru still holds. My god, Maru is so dangerous, man. I feel like Maru has been up with his back against the wall for like 9 minutes. Oh, cancels that warp in, but is there enough? I think there's enough. I think Lemon's done it. Yep, he's forced to get out of here. GG is cold, and Lemon wins the first game of this best of 2 series. Sick. Alrighty. Well then, game number 2. We find ourselves on Crimson Court. Curious curious scoreboard. You love to see it. And it's not a cheap trick, right? Like, we see top line players sometimes lose because it was like an all-in, or like that was like a push and they didn't quite prepare for it. That was Lemon just playing straight up StarCraft 2. Like, he was the one who was defensive, which I consider to be a lot more difficult than being the aggressor. Generally speaking, in any strategy game, it's much harder to be the defender than it is to be the aggressor. And Maru was all over Lemon that entire game long, and Lemon just kept pushing it away. There's also a couple of other Taiwanese Protoss players that have, for example, taken games in series off of the best of the best with some more cheesy strategies. Couple more aggressive build orders. Yeah, I remember many a proxy, but that's not the style that Lemon plays. All right, let's see. I mean, this is already a win for Lemon at this point, by the way. Like, in a Team League format, if it's a best of 2, getting 1 win against Maru is, like, that's already enough. If he goes 1-1, I think that's great for his team. Certainly an upset right here for Maru. If he can win 2-0, though, that would be ridiculous. By the way, so I was mostly interested in these games, right? Mostly just to get an update on Maru's form right now. Same for Serral. We're gonna have a look at those games in just a moment. Did Maru play that poorly? No, I don't think so. If maybe a bit overconfident. If maybe a little overconfident. It's very easy to go for a strategy because you think you're better than the opponent, right? Like, if you think you are capable of just destroying the other guy. Like, basically what Maru's plan was it was to try and slow down the third nexus of the Protoss and then do a 2-base push on the back of it and just close it out by like minute 8. Right? Like, that was the original plan. And if Maru would have been able to create a choke on that third, and the third didn't live, I think it would have gone much worse for Lemon. But Lemon defending that base, it forced Maru to play a little bit from behind. And, well, ultimately, there still were moments where he could have come back, but Lemon never really let go of it. Wow. Well, that's also not a good look. Losing a Reaper to a probe surround? Okay. You also have to take the strategies that we're going to see here with a bit of a grain of salt. I don't know if Maru has been cooking up something new for the World Cup. There's a chance that he's been, you know, changing his playstyle quite a bit, and he's trying out some creative things here. That he's not taking these games to the same level of seriousness, I guess. Nice skirmish over here, though. Good micro by Maru. Alright. Ultimately, 2 Reapers for 2 Adepts. Not a terrible trade, of course, for Terran. He's now going to be going into the good old... Well, what will we have here, actually? He's going to be going into the good old medevac for now. I guess we'll just go straight into the siege tank production. Either that or we're going to do the switcheroo. Oh, nice hold position there by Lemon, making it difficult for both of those units to go in. Alright. One Hellion is flying around in the main base, but it's like, hey guys, doesn't it take like 3 of us to kill these bad boys? Maybe 2? I mean, this guy is making the best of the bad situation, though. A lot of lost mining time. Yeah, a little bit of a nosedive there. Okay. So, once again, good old blink here for Lemon. Once again, a lot of 2-base production here for Maru. Not opting to go for any sort of fast third command center or anything like that. He is trying to see if he can lay down the law on the other side of the map once more. It'll probably be Lemon here who will go for an expansion in just a moment. He's got 2 gateways at this point. The third one is coming. Yeah, he's gonna start mining out the mineral fields here on the right, it seems, or at least... Okay. Now, the probe was just returning from building that pylon. He's gonna be building it on the left, I guess. Alright, fair enough. And there we go. Maru only at 28 SCVs. Like, that is not a lot of workers. This is once again becoming a little sketchy here for the Terran. Mules are real good, but This push needs to get something done. Now, even SCVs are being brought across. Yeah, a lot of SCVs are being brought across right now. 2 siege tanks decided to medevac, by the way. Liberators joining in the fray as well. And this is one hell of an attack. If Maru gets set up in this position over here, that's exactly what he's gonna get. Yep. This is so difficult right now to break. Stalkers blink forward, get one of the siege tanks. Battery overcharge has been used already, but great siege up right there with the lip, albeit one a little bit further forward. He does get the kill. SCVs do not quite manage to repair all of this. There's a lot of probes going down in total. Okay. This is a bit of a desperation play, though, from Maru. I think he manages to get it done here in the end. But not quite in the confident way that we normally see Maru play. Yeah. The micro there is incredibly delicate. Like, that could have gone very easily in favor of Lemon. Like, the way that that first Liberator was sieged up and everything, like, it's not quite the confident win that we come to expect whenever we watch Maru. Next up, another best of 2 series. Spawning right here in the top left-hand corner. Where are we? Amphion. Fair enough. Playing with the red Zerg drones. We have a man who we haven't seen play all too much since the ESL Masters Spring Tournament. We're looking at none other than Serral's main hatchery. The reason why, well, like I said, he's currently doing his military service and he is not showing us really any games. I think these are the only games he's played since that tournament, which is kind of nuts. His opponent playing right here with the blue Protoss pieces. He's got Zest spinning around on the main Nexus with the blue Protoss pieces. We're looking at none other than Art's main Nexus. A Polish Protoss player. He's been signing up for tournaments for many, many years. And he's actually very good. I think he's probably right around like maybe like rank 50 or so globally, which is certainly very respectable. As of me casting this right now, he's currently the rank 19 on the Grandmaster League ladder on the European server. So certainly a very, very strong player. But is he Serral levels of good? Now the thing is, right, like I said, Serral's doing his military service. We don't really know how good he is. We didn't really know how good he was going in the most recent Premier tournament. And then he ended up winning by dropping only 2 maps. Like, he literally did not drop a single game against Protoss that entire tournament. So, what do you do? What do you do? Well, I don't think he can cheese Serral. I don't think that's gonna happen. You basically have to win in much the same way that Lemon just won against Maru in the first game. You have to play better. Like, you have to try and maybe hope that your opponent gets a bit overconfident or just makes a slip up. And it is very possible, right? So I don't know what Serral's current schedule looks like. I don't think he's really commented on that at all, or at the very least, I'm not aware of it. I don't know how intense the military service in Finland is. Like, do you get time at all to practice? Is it just kind of like a full-time job? Can you like, is it like 30 hours? Like, how many hours are we talking? Anyways, what I did here is that apparently he rented a bunch of office space close by the actual like military place where he's stationed, and apparently he's practicing from there. Not even entirely sure if that's true, but it does sound like a pretty neat little setup where I guess sometimes you can go in and get some practice under your belt. And obviously with the World Cup, well, coming up very soon, he will want to try and get as much practice as he can. I'm assuming it's kind of like I'm assuming the military service is probably like a full-time setup where you do get some time off as well to at least put in a little bit of practice. But there is certainly a chance that Serral's going to be slightly less crisp than what we are, well, expecting him to be. He's gone for the Overlord speed upgrade. Okay. Stargate opener here for Protoss, nothing all too weird. Got an extra gas coming up, fair enough. We'll probably just see a good old macro opener. What is the Overlord speed for, Serral? Are we just trying to, like, cross our T's and dot our I's? Is that the plan? So either this is an all-in, where you're gonna go for some sort of cheeky drop or something like that, and I don't think that's the case because he doesn't have a lair. Or this is him playing as safely as possible. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Oh my god, and he's gonna... Dude, he's doing the Serral thing again. It's a fleet beacon rush here from Art. A 2-base fleet beacon. Serral scouts it perfectly. And if you're looking for one theme, right, in Serral's games, is that he always knows what's going on. It's kind of hard to, like, very frequently he doesn't go Overlord speed. Why in the world did he go Overlord speed this time around? Because he has to make that decision long before Protoss makes the decision to go for a fleet beacon. And, well, he got the perfect scout. The only thing Art can really do is double down. So he's decided to go double Stargate fleet beacon here on 2 bases. Which is fair enough. Lair is now also building. Yeah, it's a Tempest Rush here from Art, so I'm assuming we're going to see a Spire here from Serral. Hydras wouldn't really cut it. But as long as he's got enough economy and he can make a bunch of Corruptors, he should be A-okay. Although the first wave of Tempest is going to hit pretty hard. The problem is for Art, you need about 5 Tempest to one-shot practically everything Zerg has. And that's going to take several minutes to produce. So for now, Serral's droning up. He's making a Roach Warren. He's getting some additional gases going. As long as he's got Corruptors with Roaches, I don't think he can really die. And at that point, Art is sort of stuck on 2 bases. Wow, he's even rushing out the Tectonic Destabilizers upgrade, which is the Tempest damage buff against structures. Yeah, so Art definitely feeling the pressure here. He doesn't want to be playing against anything silly. I'm actually a little concerned that the Spire is slightly late, but I think it's actually... Like, I would have gotten the Lair started immediately if I was in Serral's shoes. But Serral scouted it and then decided to wait for another half minute or so before going for the Lair. So I'm inclined to imagine that that is the perfect play. What I do is probably worse. What I would have done, rather, is probably worse. But yeah, Serral confidently using the Queens right now to buy as much time as he can. And he's going to try and see if he can get those Corruptors going. And until the Corruptors are out, this is a little sketchy. But what exactly can Art do? You can see here that 3 of these guys cannot really do much. Like, he can maybe 2-shot the Queens, right? If he has all of the shots synchronized. Yeah, perfect game for Serral. He's got 66 drones, 4th hatchery coming up. 66 is the ideal number for full 3-base saturation. Transfuses are here as well to now save those weakened Queens. Spire just about to pop. Corruptors are building. And I think this is pretty much in the bag for Serral. I don't see what he could do. Like, Art is trying his best to stay alive, but he doesn't have an answer against Corruptors. So now there are 5 Tempests, which is good because he can one-shot these. These Queens, that is. But as soon as the Corruptor count is big enough, Serral's gonna be totally fine. He is happy to sacrifice Queens and Spore Crawlers if it means that his economy is intact. And Art needs to get the kill on this base. Look at that. Corruptor show up. Perfect time. Recall is used. Serral in a nutshell. Now suddenly, this is 2-base Protoss, unable to really expand, versus full 3-base saturation for Zerg. Serral has got a 4th base. I don't think he really needs it. He's going to mine out the mineral fields on the left, because that's really the only expansion that Art can take, and that's indeed the base he's going to be mining. On Amphion, you can only get to this side of the map after the mineral fields are mined out, or after the rocks are destroyed. Keep in mind that there's still, Roaches here as well. Ravagers are here. And we have Zerglings. I think Serral is just going to wait for a little bit. Make a bunch of army units and push. He could expand over here and just continue droning up, go into a hive. But I don't think he's going to let his opponent wiggle that much. Oh, he's going to try and do a caustic spray? No. He's thinking about it. Probably just hoping he can catch some of those Corruptors. Or some of those Tempests with the Corruptors. Rocks are going to get knocked down. This section of the map is not quite available yet. Art's trying to see if he can build a pylon onto the creep, which is a bit suboptimal. And there suddenly the Zerg army appears. Sentry, no force fields. I mean, yeah, we see force fields over there. Fair enough. But this is going from bad to worse right now. At least there might be a shield battery overcharge. The income, though, and this is the real story, right? The income, though, is heavily in favor of Serral, and that just means that he is making so much stuff. Nexus is going to finish up right now. Shield battery overcharge will not be happening because all of the batteries are now unpowered. Corruptors are going to be swooping in. Serral was probably anticipating that they were in a different spot, but even a few corrosive balls will connect. I think as the third Nexus falls, with it, the chances as well. GG is called, and indeed Serral wins the first match. Alrighty. Game number 2. We find ourselves... I can't have best of 2 on the scoreboard. It's not possible. No, it's not possible. It's gonna say best of 1 instead. Game number 2, we find ourselves on Dynasty. Or Dynasty, if you want to be fancy. Nobody says that, though. I'll go with Dynasty as well. Anyways, that was a Serral game in a nutshell. Incredibly difficult to break, right? So Art decided to put all of his eggs in one basket, go for a Tempest all-in. Could have worked really nicely if Serral decided to play a normal build, but then he got the perfect scout. And essentially what happens at that point, right, as Protoss, is you have a very slow death animation. Like, you're still in the game, but if you give up on that build, if you cancel the fusion core or the fleet beacon, right, you cancel it and you try to just transition away from it, you are already kind of behind. So you're kind of forced to go into the push, but you also know that your opponent has scouted your moment, or your build order perfect. It's just kind of a rough situation. Yeah, so let's see. Let's see what now Art's strategy is going to be. I don't know, by the way, when Zest is done with his military service. Can we have a look? Zest Liquipedia. I haven't seen Zest in a while. Ongoing is what it says. It says he started... No, he must be finished by now. It says he started in about the middle of 2022. Does that mean Zest has just simply decided not to return? See, the thing is, I've heard many pro gamers say, okay, when I'm done with my military service, I'm not gonna come back. And then usually, we slowly see them coming back. Yeah, usually they sort of just come back over the course of time because they realize having a normal job, kind of lame. At least compared to being a professional gamer. Obviously, there are a bunch of RTS games on the horizon, though, so maybe we'll see Zest's name popping up again in the future. That'd be nice, because Zest is certainly one of my all-time favorites. Serral, by the way, in order to clarify, this is always a little bit confusing. Apparently, the Finnish military has like a branch where if you are like an athlete, you are allowed to get more time to practice your sport. And I believe that Serral is the very first esports athlete who got to join that branch of the military. So it's probably a bunch of celebrities in Finland, right, that get to hang out over there. A bunch of like hockey players and whatever else is popular over in Finland. But then I picture it with, yeah, Serral right next to them on the bench. That's what I picture, yeah. The military sports department, where they get a little bit of time away as well to practice and try to be really, really good at what they do. So that's why he can still participate in some of these events, and at least the premier tournaments seem to be available to him, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Korean military seems a little bit more intense. Alrighty. Stargate opener once again for Art. We'll have to see where he transitions to this time around. Obviously, we are on Dynasty, which is that map with the weird gold base that you can take as your very first expansion. Serral apparently doesn't like it, at least not in this game. He's not going to take the risk. He believes he can overcome that golden mineral line by just playing better. So, safe expansion layout right here for the Zerg. Whereas Art does have a bit of an opportunity. He decides to take a third Nexus nice and early, but this one is at about 356 or so, which is about 10-ish seconds late from a perfect execution. I think it's because he decided to go double Adept and a Stalker. They're not really doing much for him, though. Serral, by the way, this time around not going for the Overlord speed. Which is kind of funny. Flipped the coin. Landed it perfectly again in the previous game. Why did we not flip a coin in the same... Okay. I don't know. I think Serral's saying there's no way you're going to do that build twice. Even if you do, I'm going to be fine. Gets one drone so far. Could have probably gotten that queen if I'm being honest, but... Double Robo. Alright. Double Robo on the back of this together with sentries. This is going to be some sort of cheeky 2-base push. Or maybe a 3-base push. Yeah, he's overmaking probes right now for 2 bases, so it will indeed be a 3-base push. But it will likely be something aggressive. Okay, so lair coming up. This started at about 4:30. Serral's looking right now for any sentries. That would be really nice for him to spot, but I like what Art is doing. He's hiding them in the main base. The only reason to have a bunch of sentries and robo facilities at this point is if you have something dirty in mind. Serral at this point does not know, but the lair is going to finish up in a moment, and I'm fully expecting an Overseer Scout. This is a pretty conservative lair here. 4th hatchery coming up as well at the front. Roach production has already begun. So Serral here is making sure that there's probes as well in that mineral line. He's seen the shield battery, which means that this is not a fake third. It's starting to look a little fishy, right? Because you'd imagine at least a bunch of Blink Stalker or something going around the map at this point. And he hasn't seen anything but 4 Adepts here. Additional sentries being warped in. One of the oracles just fell. It's a little unfortunate. Upon that going down, apparently Serral also decided to cancel the Spore Crawler that was building there. Okay. So how many Protoss units do we have here? So it's 3 Immortals together with a Prism. This looks like a very scary attack. I'm not gonna lie. This is a push that can certainly bite you in the butt. Serral is gonna find out what's happening as the army is marching across the map. So now he scouts everything that's going on. Lucky for him though. Well, lucky. He's been making units for a while already. We have Roach Speed together with +1 missile coming up very soon. Overlords need to get out of the way. Spore Crawlers are going to be brought to the front. The longer that this goes on, the more units Serral will have, because he does have the superior economy. If he can snipe that Prism, it's basically game over, but good force fields right now by the Polish Protoss. Okay, gets another line of force fields, but he's not really making a lot of space here, right? Like, he's not really creating a lot of headroom. Push is starting to move forward a little bit, but the sentries are now out of energy. He can juggle this for all he wants. All of the Immortals still remain, but I think the Prism might be a little bit exposed, and indeed the Queens, together with the Corrosive Biles, managed to shut it down. And with that, this push is going to absolutely fall flat on its face. Nice attempt right there by Art, but Serral is 1 bridge too far.